On north for now. No idea what the end game is. We have no idea. We actually don't even know if this is organized or just an impromptu decision by a bunch of friends. We don't know that at this moment.
But Adam, as the sun continues to set and it gets darker, it can get even more dangerous out there on I-95 because some of the drivers don't know what's going on. They're hearing the engines revving, and then all of a sudden they're surrounded by all of these motorcyclists and ATV drivers. So as it gets darker out there, it's going to get even more dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know how fast they're going exactly. Obviously, we can't tell from here, but they're going faster than the cars.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that's obvious.
If the speed limit is 55 miles an hour and you can think that those drivers are going 55, these guys are going at least 65, I would say.
Yeah, they're breezing by the cars. We can see that here from Chopper 6. NBC6 keeping you up to date here live as this scene continues to unfold. These bike riders, ATVs, dirt bikes disrupting traffic and doing tricks and popping wheelies and, you know, certainly creating a scare among drivers. They're, look, like 6-7 feet away from that SUV. They're going to breeze right through that one right there. Wow. And, you know, we don't know where they're headed, but they did come from this direction. They originally went 95 south, got off downtown, and they're headed back north again.
If you're joining us now, Chopper 6 is live over the scene. Miami police say these motorcycle and ATV drivers started after an MLK parade in Liberty City. They have been committing traffic violations for quite some time now, at least half hour now. They started going north on I-95, got off on downtown Miami, went down Biscayne Boulevard, then got back on the ramp I-95, and now they're headed back north on I-95. Now, police are telling us that they have tried to stop them, but that those drivers have refused to stop for police. But I got to tell you, Adam, I haven't seen one cop car since.
Yeah, and you also have to wonder if police did try to create a chase and to stop them, how would they stop them? There are so many. Look how fast this guy's going.
Oh my gosh.
But there are just so many of them. I think they know they have that advantage on police, and that's why police have made the strategic decision to back off at this moment.
Yeah, you're talking about strategy. You don't want to put any lives in danger, not only of those riders, but you don't want to put the lives of any of the other drivers in the area at risk as well. So it's a very tricky situation for police officers. How do you handle something like this? All these bike riders disrupting traffic, and now they're on another ramp.
Okay, so let's see if we can figure out where they're going now. They got off on another ramp. Is this the Golden Glades already? Did they get there that fast?
It looks like they're already at the Golden Glades.
All right, we're going to get that information from our producers to figure out exactly where they are. And you can see there were about 25 total dirt bike riders, ATV riders when they gathered downtown, but the group we just saw was much smaller because they split off and some people are going faster than others. But they got off on an exit, and we're going to try to figure out exactly where those riders got off. And
much more traffic right now at 6:15 in the afternoon on this Martin Luther King Day, as you can see.
And it's dark. You know, you're not going to be able to see them if you're driving along the highway.
Absolutely. That's why I was telling you that it was going to be a scary situation for those drivers, because it is dark and all of a sudden you hear the roar of all these engines from the motorcycles and the ATVs. So it's a scary situation all around.
Yeah, listen, if you've driven in Miami, you've seen once in a while, you'll see a dirt bike or a motorcycle fly by you, and you know what the roar of that engine sounds like. But it's different when it's a big group like this.
You know what's interesting? That if they are still heading north on I-95, there's that big accident that's affecting traffic, and traffic is pretty much stopped in Broward County. So it'll be interesting to see what they do as a result of that, because they're going to have to stop at some point, and it's going to be a difficult situation for them there.
Yeah, I want to point out, this is still a live picture, I believe. Is this still a live picture from Chopper 6? Because it looks lighter. The reason for that, just different shading of the camera. So it didn't all of a sudden get lighter outside. It's still pretty dark out there, but they've got a little bit more light on this camera so you can get a better picture of what's happening here as these bike riders, the ATV riders, are popping the wheelies and doing some tricks on I-95 northbound right now.
Yeah, right now there's only about half a dozen of them that we could see from this angle from Chopper 6. But when they all got together in downtown Miami, it was more like 24 drivers of ATVs and motorcycles and dirt bikes who conglomerated there in downtown Miami before they set off again, got on I-95, and once again now they're heading north on I-95.
Okay, you see lots of daredevils out there doing the tricks, and they've been doing that for a long time. Who knows if this is going to end somewhere where they're going to gather again like they did in downtown Miami. Maybe they'll just wear out and get tired. We don't know. But this has not stopped. It's been going on for almost half an hour now.
Yeah, what we don't know either is if this was an organized situation right now as a result of this, or if this was something completely, you know, that they just planned after the parade. But we do know that it started at an MLK parade in Liberty City, and it's been over half hour right now that these guys have been going up and down I-95 first, south, and now north, and And there's the guy once again waving to our camera in Chopper 6. Very dangerous.
Yeah, that guy also has been trying to make eye contact and get the attention of other drivers on the road, that particular dirt bike rider. And he's being followed by this driver right here. But I want to point out the group we saw earlier, Jackie, looked like 20 to 25, has split up. So here's another group. This is a different location.
Okay.
So we have multiple pictures here for you on NBC6. This location seems to be about a group of 10 of them driving on a side street, no longer on the highway, I believe.
It'll even be more difficult then for police officers to catch these guys if they've split up. You know, some of them are still going north on I-95. Others got out in North Miami-Dade. So that group of about 24 of these riders has split up now. And now you have about maybe half a dozen, maybe a little more. And they're reaching a stoplight, and once again, they're taking the stoplight at them.
Yeah, they're not too interested in the rules of the road right now. But the good news to report again, despite all of these daredevil stunts, no accidents to report, no incidents to report as of now.
And back on I-95 right now, those drivers, and you know, there we go. Now you're getting a much bigger group of those riders going in and out of traffic, and there's some drivers of other cars that must be thinking, what in the world is going on here?
And this is interesting. There was a convertible you saw there. I can't tell if the convertible was trying to get around them or is part of this. If we can zoom in, I can't tell if the convertible had people standing up and maybe even taking part in this.
Maybe it was part of this as well. We don't know right now. We did see a car there on the side of the road. We don't know if that's a police official, but until this point, we haven't seen any police cars.
There's a guy, you know, out of this car. He's got his whole head.
I think he may be filming it.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. So this is from Chopper 6 earlier. What you're looking at is Chopper 6 video. This is taped footage, and you can see there's somebody outside of that car alongside all the men. They look mostly like men. It's hard to say exactly, but young men on dirt bikes and ATVs. And now again, we have a congregation happening. This is live Chopper 6 video.
And now people are outside of their homes. The cars are stopped. And this is live once again from Chopper 6. These guys started over a half hour ago. And right now you can see cop cars on the scene. People are out of their homes. People are on the streets, and cop cars are on the street.
And this is North Dade, North Miami-Dade. There's a police presence now. Is that this might be from an event,
this
though,
could
right?
Be this could be the celebration. This could be the MLK celebration that started it all right after that ended. So this could be all part of that. Those police officers on the scene,
right? Because they're not moving, and the police are staying where they are. But you see the people on the ATVs and the dirt bikes continue on.
Well, of course, it's dark out there. It's dangerous out there with these guys just being completely irresponsible, what they've done here today, weaving in and out of traffic, doing all sorts of pop wheelies and putting their legs up and down, and almost like circus acts out there. Very dangerous situation on I-95, first north and then first south and then back north. And now it looks like they're back in North Miami-Dade, maybe where it started all.
Yeah, police told us in the beginning, this is, Northwest 71st Street. So it very well could be Liberty City, where the MLK parade was happening. And we were told by police that this started at the parade, and they were aware that this group was committing traffic violations, but they tried to stop them originally. They refused to stop, and police said, we're not going to chase them, but we are certainly aware of this, and we're hoping to find out what's going on. Yeah,
of course, it was an intentional decision not to chase them because you don't want to put any other people's lives at risk. Of course, not the drivers of those ATVs and motorcyclists, but also the drivers in the cars that are just going on their merry way on this Monday, and then all of a sudden, they're in a dangerous situation out there.
Yeah, it is getting very dark quickly. That's what's happening this time of year. This is the scene right now. We're going to take a look at some video earlier. If you just joined us, here's what was happening, this is downtown Miami.
Yeah, this is already when they reached downtown Miami.
Yeah, and it was a little bit lighter outside, and there was a large group, about 20 to 25, young men mostly, as far as we can tell, on dirt bikes, on ATVs, weaving in and out of traffic recklessly.
Yeah, this is when they got to downtown Miami. They got to Biscayne Boulevard, close to the American Airlines Arena, and they were just taking the red lights like if it was no big deal. Cars were stopped, and they were taking them, all sorts of traffic violations. And in downtown Miami, we didn't see any officials that were even close to them. And then once they got out of Biscayne Boulevard, they got back onto I-95, went north, and it looks like they've headed to Liberty City once again, where authorities are telling us this may have started there.
Yeah, this is a Chopper 6 view a little bit earlier when they were making their way through downtown Miami. You see Southeast 1st Street right there, and that's when it got dark, and that's when they ended up going back on 95 North, right around that bend where my downtown and Brickell come together. But right now, there was a group that passed through Liberty City. It didn't appear as if they were stopping. So we don't know that this is going to end anytime soon.
No, we don't know. Right now, there's a much smaller group. At one point, we saw at least 24 of these drivers of the ATVs and motorcycles and dirt bikes. And right now, maybe about half a dozen. It's dark. We can't really tell, but this is in northwest Miami-Dade. Not that much traffic out there on this Martin Luther King holiday, which is the good news. Also the good news, we haven't heard of any incident as a result of what these guys have done today. And Miami police said that they had no knowledge that this was happening today, so we don't know if this was a planned event by these guys. But the policy, as you know, Adam, is not to follow them, not to chase them, in order not to put their lives or any other lives in danger.
Yeah, we're taking a look now as they continue to ride through these streets. This is no longer the highway, but you still see cars going pretty fast. I would estimate those cars are going 30 to 35 miles per hour, and they're in northwest Miami-Dade. It's dark. They're certainly not going to see those bikers if you're driving and not expecting it. You're not going to see them. So there's a lot of danger here, a lot of risk right now, and I'm guessing those people know it, but they don't seem to care.
And my question is, how will the cops be able to find them after the fact? Once this is all said and done, you know, there were so many of them out there, over 24, and now they're all spread out. They've divided. Is on Chopper 6, very proud of what he's been able to do.
Yeah, so you have to admit, expect that part of this would be to create a spectacle. The goal would be to create a spectacle, and they've certainly accomplished that. We're bringing you this live coverage here on NBC6. We're going to get keep up with the latest on this and bring you any information about it as soon as we get more info.
We're going to have a quick break, and we'll be right back with much more. Stay with us.
Really causing some unnerving feelings probably for a lot of drivers out there.
Let's head back to Mike Marza. He's been watching this along with us. He's in the newsroom, and more on some of the information that's coming in related to all this. Mike?
Well, we have been watching these motorcyclists and ATVs kind of weaving in and around traffic for the past hour or so. But, you know, the interesting part is now, even though these are recorded images that we're showing you here, it is now nightfall. And so traffic, as Nicole mentioned, is moving about obviously in the dark, and so the headlights are on, and it might be hard to see some of these motorcyclists coming up near and around you. It's still unclear at this point exactly what the ending will be. I mean, we've watched several close calls. Thankfully, we have not seen any accidents. Nobody has laid down the bike or caused any other injuries to any of the pedestrians, or even caused another accident in the area. But that's something we've been watching very closely. And at this point, again, we are staying in touch with police who are monitoring the situation, but at least at this point, not chasing them, not pursuing these groups of motorcyclists around the streets, instead hoping, I guess, that they just stop soon so people can go back about their day. But, you know, we continue to watch it for you as well. And just to give you an indication on just the groups that we've been seeing and the number of bikers out there, that was in some of the intersections. And, you know, Biscayne Boulevard was one of the areas where we were really keeping our fingers crossed, as so many people are trying to get across that street with the traffic being busy anyway. And then when you have these guys going down the street at high rates of speed. So, Craig and Lynn, we continue to watch it for you, and just hoping that it ends well.
All right, Mike, thanks for that update on your end. As again, we look at these pictures from just a little while ago, and I can't tell yet. I think we're on Biscayne here, and raises the point, just again, the concern for the pedestrians, the people who are walking, and so it's a hazard to them, and obviously a hazard to other drivers. And if you're that car there in the middle of the screen, and you've got the light, you're not moving because you're surrounded up front, back, and all around by all this madness. So that's the concern for the motorists out there that.
All right, we are back right now continuing to follow this live developing situation where a group of riders on ATVs and motorcycles and dirt bikes have been disrupting traffic in Miami.
And apparently this all happened after an MLK celebration in Liberty City. We have the opportunity right now to speak to Frederica Burden from Miami PD. And Freddie, can you please tell us, did you guys know that this was happening today, or was you were caught by surprise as we were?
No, I think everybody was caught by surprise. We had no expectations of this amount of bikers to be out on the road today.
Frederica, what happens next? What's the plan here from a police standpoint?
Right now, we're monitoring the situation. We're trying to make sure that the drivers are safe. We're trying to make people aware that they have to look out for themselves, driving and walking, as well as look out for the bikers that are just doing what they want to do on the street.
What is the protocol for the police when there's something like this happening, a situation like this? You do not follow them to not put their lives in any danger?
What we do is if there's a...
Per department policy, they cannot chase after them. Again, at last check, they're at 79th Street Northwest, 79th Street at 27th Avenue. They've been going through the streets, assembling at a gas station and then moving towards Miami-Dade and going to downtown Miami, really disrupting the flow of traffic, Elliot, and at times really causing it to come to a standstill in the middle of these intersections on these blocks.
Well, Erica, I just finished seeing them run 2 red lights at 2 major intersections there. This really is incredible. They are going westbound on Northwest 79th Street. They ran 1 red light. They ran another red light with cars coming, and again, a very dangerous situation. Police say they're monitoring this. They are hopeful for the safety of everybody out on the roads, including these bikers and ATV riders who are making the roads of Miami-Dade County very dangerous right now for a lot of people. We're going to continue following the story, and we'll have a full report on CBS 4 News tonight at 11. Right now, that's it for CBS 4 News at 6. The CBS Evening News is next. Don't miss our report tonight at 11 o'clock. Have a good night.
Continuing to follow the developing story unfolding in parts of South Florida at this hour. Bikers on ATVs, motorbikes disrupting traffic on city streets and the interstate.
And it's causing quite a few problems. And nobody's been hurt at this point, we understand, but drivers are a bit scared. You can imagine that. We have a couple of reporters on the scene right now. We've got Miami Police Officer Frederica Burden on the phone. Frederica, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Officer Burden, what is your take on the situation?
Right now, our concern as police is the safety of the drivers that are involved and unfortunately have to be stuck in traffic with the bikers that are basically taking over the street at this point.
Can you give us a sense, Officer Burden? We're looking at some pictures from our chopper from a few minutes ago, but primarily what areas, what roadways have been affected? I know we talked about I-95 and I saw parts of Biscayne Boulevard done by the AAA. What am I missing there were areas that are being affected?
In the city of Miami, basically Biscayne Boulevard was the main street that the bikers took over.
Now, the answer to this might seem pretty obvious to everybody, but I'm going to ask it anyway because people would like to hear an official response. The question is, arrest these people. Easier said than done. Can you explain that a little bit? Why obviously it's not something that's, or it is easier said than done?
It's not easy. We do monitor them, and they do have traffic infractions at this point, but when we do initiate a traffic stop and they don't stop, our police policy is we do not chase. And because of that policy, when they don't stop, they can continue to go, and we have to cease at that point.
So, Officer Burden, to reiterate, they are breaking the law, so to speak. There are traffic infractions, but the problem is, like you just said, you're not going to chase them and endanger the community because of the policy, correct?
Correct. That's absolutely correct.
So, from your vantage point, how much of a problem is this right now?
It is a problem until they relinquish the streets completely, and as soon as they do that, we just are mainly concerned with the safety of the drivers, pedestrians, and anyone else involved that are not on the ATVs or the dirt bikes.
I bet you are concerned. We're looking at a live picture. Our chopper is following a couple of ATV riders right now, and it's dark out. It's got to be scary for people on the road and pedestrians.
Right, and we're just asking everybody to bear with us. We're asking them to drive for themselves, as well as the ATVs that are have no one else in mind but themselves. So that's our main concern at this point.
And officer, just to be clear, at least from the city of Miami, no reports of any incidents, accidents, or injuries as a result of all this craziness at this point.
No reports of anything thus far.
All right, let's say, and just so I'm clear, if I'm a biker and you pull me over and I actually stop, what am I charged with at this point? I have an infraction?
Well, it depends on what they stop you for, because different bikers are doing different things.
Good
so
point.
if you get pulled over, it depends on what the officer saw you do, what your infraction was. And that's what you'll be cited for, and you go from there.
Okay.
But it sounds like these bikers have no incentive to pull over when perhaps they know that police are not going to give chase. Officer Burden, thank you so much for this. So officially from her, again, they're going to follow their no chase policy. They're just keeping an eye on the situation. We now have the ability to talk to Ralph Rayburn, who's bringing us these live pictures. Ralph, where are these bikers at?
Trying to get a head count for you guys here. This is Ralph Rayburn in Skyforce. You're looking at live pictures. These folks here on the bikes and on the ATVs now on 27th Avenue northbound just went underneath the overpass at 163rd Street, the Palmetto Expressway, and are moving along at a high rate of speed. You can see a lot of them, as we've seen for hours now, doing wheelies, driving kind of indiscriminately there. Now they're turning eastbound, coming across the roadway into a gas station here. It's going to be at, let's put it 169th Street and 27th Avenue. Hold on one second as I try to iris this camera down just a little bit. There you go, right there. A number of them bypassing the gas station and continuing on northbound. Now some of them doubling back here, but you can see as we'll push the camera in a little tighter here, stopping to get fuel. This has been going on now, as we said earlier, for at least an hour, maybe longer than that. Been followed by the police departments in the Dade County have been advised for officer safety earlier today that there were a number of bikers, upwards of 150 possibly, that would be driving around this area, and they have been on the I-95 up and down, all the way down to the Miami Arena. They went across one of the causeways at one point, again driving at high rate of speeds with some disregard there for obviously their own safety, but also the safety of other vehicular traffic. Police have indicated that they would not attempt to stop them unless a moving violation was seen by a police officer. We have no police presence at this time. This is the gas station here, as we said, again on the corner of 27th Avenue, right around 169, 170th Street. They appear to be fueling up their motorcycles and ATVs. I want to point out to you that, and I think it's been reported earlier, that the ATVs are not permitted on public streets there. So that is a violation there, and you can see them cutting across the roadways here without much regard for other motorists. So that's what we have for you right now. We're going to continue to monitor the situation, and we're going to toss it back to you guys at the desk there.
All right, Ralph, we'll hang with your pictures. Yeah, to Ralph's point, I don't know, call me crazy. I don't think any of these folks are particularly concerned about following the rules of the road, since they've been breaking the law all afternoon with all the antics on the roads and cutting people off and just now driving over the grass to get to the road again. So, and Officer Burden made the point from Miami PD that assuming they could pull somebody over and they would actually stop, what they face would depend on what they're doing, because some are doing things that others are not. So they could face a multitude of charges depending on what they're spotted by an officer doing. But at this point, that hasn't happened. Again, this is what, 169th and 27th Avenue, a gas station there where some of these folks stopped a couple minutes ago. Based on
so again, this is 169th Street, 27th Avenue. Pretty incredible, again, that as far as we hear, nobody's been hurt. There are no accidents at this point related to this, but as you can see, and you look outside of your window, it is nightfall right now.
Sort of normal traffic, but we're just trying to have some fun, letting them know it's a movement. Bikes up, guns down, no violence at all. We're not trying to be out here stealing and killing and none of that. Just trying to have a nice, peaceful ride and do our thing.
All right, a nice peaceful ride. That is what he is calling it, a hashtag we found, MLK Ride Out. But you heard the officer from Miami Police. She said they've been taking over the streets here in South Florida. And as Craig has mentioned, as we've heard over and over again, riding ATVs on the street is illegal. So again, we've seen this for several hours now, and they continue to gas up to continue their ride into the night. But again, these bikers have been in South Florida. Unclear if they are all local or if some have come in from other areas, but they have been very busy on social media posting what they've been up to, and we of course will continue to watch that. For now, live in the Satellite Center, Robin Simmons, 7 News.
Certainly appreciate that guy's sentiment about the no guns thing. I think everybody would give you know, a big yeah to that. But when he says it's slightly disruptive, I'm thinking, you know, bro, look at the TV. It's more than slightly disruptive and dangerous. So I think my agreement with him would end at no guns. Okay, after that, yeah, no, this is more than slightly disruptive, and it's been going on now for a better part of the evening.
Yeah, for hours. And what he means by bikes up, we've been watching this for hours as well. The ATV riders many times will do a wheelie for quite some time down a highway. And remember, these bikers are a community, so like motorcycle riders, these are ATV riders who are in a community. And you're looking at pictures sent in from viewers of the chaos there on the highway. Probably I-95, not really sure, but Biscayne Boulevard was another area that the officer said was an area that a lot of these bikers went to. But imagine you're on the highway and you see this, and this is why they are not allowed on the highway. They're dangerous. But this is a typical bike up. And as we just heard the gentleman say, I guess they talked about this earlier, they planned it, the police department knew about it, and we're talking about hundreds of riders on busy streets disrupting traffic.
Yeah, and to his point, that gentleman we heard from in terms of commemorating the life, the legacy, the works of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I think there are probably other ways, more meaningful ways to accomplish that, but okay, that's me. Let's head back to Mike Marza. He's in the Newsplex. He's also keeping an eye on these live pictures and some of the tape we had from earlier, too. Mike?
Well, it is interesting to hear, I guess, maybe one of the participants, definitely, but maybe one of the organizers of the event. He said the message is a positive one. I mean, that's what they set out to do, and Craig and Lynn and Robin, we've all pointed out what we have seen take place in the past hour and a half or so, definitely causing some concern for police. And just to reiterate, we did have Officer Burton on from Miami Police Department talking about their sort of protocol at this point, and that is to monitor the activities that they've been watching through our live feeds going out onto the air about these bikers, and when they're breaking traffic violations, if an officer spots a particular rider doing that, then they will try to initiate a traffic stop, and that biker would be issued a citation based upon whatever the officer witnessed. But you know, here's another person just giving you an indication of what we've been seeing, fueled up and ready to rock and roll, I guess, again. But this is in a parking lot. That's a much different story than on I-95 and down Biscayne Boulevard, which we saw throughout the better part of the past 90 minutes or so. And I think that's the concern when you hear from some of the participants and maybe the riders who really have the right idea and want to go out and have some fun on this holiday and showcase some of their skills on the bikes. You know, maybe doing it in more of a controlled environment might be more the liking of police departments, maybe even getting together with them and saying, hey, we want to do this demonstration. Is there an area that we can do it where it would be less disruptive? I guess the positive would be is that this is, again, a holiday, and so traffic on the roadways, especially 95, not as heavy as we would see on a normal Monday evening, but still. There were a lot of close calls that we witnessed, and now we're witnessing, I guess, perhaps the beginning of round two. We'll watch and see as they begin to fuel up here as we enter the evening hours, and the bikers now preparing to do whatever they're going to do next, and we continue to watch it with you guys. Craig, Lynn?
All right, Mike, thank you much for the update from there.
All right, we've got our live picture on this right now. We've got reporters on the scene. We're going to keep watching this story. 7 News, though, at 6:30. Taking a break, coming right back.
I'm sorry, folks, I was just trying to gather a little bit more information here. We are northbound on 27th Avenue. The folks that were down there getting fuel as part of this ongoing, I don't know what you want to call this, whether it's a protest or exactly what it is, or acknowledgement of the holiday here, are working their way. Let me see here. I'll bring the camera back out. We've gone through a number of red lights here. We've watched these now. You can see the guys on the bikes there going around vehicles into oncoming traffic there, doing the wheelies that we've seen earlier. Again, 27th Avenue. We should be coming up to a sign here just a second now, and that sign's going to be right up here, and it says that's 183rd Street. So at 183rd Street, we have a bunch of people. I've got someone else talking in my ear. I apologize. We have a bunch of people on their bikes and on their ATVs moving northbound. I want to point out that we just a moment ago saw them go past a Miami Gardens police officer's vehicle who was sitting at an intersection watching. So the police are aware of where these folks are and what they are doing, but at this point there has been no intervention of any kind. And the question begins, as they go by a fire truck there, begins to be what is going to happen next, and what will it take for them to stop? Will it be an accident? If someone has an accident, will this draw to a close? How much longer will this go on before maybe an innocent person is hurt, or one of these people on the bikes right here? So that's the question for us from up here in Skyforce as we continue to monitor, and we'll pitch it back to you guys.
All right, Ralph, it was pretty incredible when we first went to you. I believe it was in the center of our screen. Maybe the rider with the white shirt down there had two people on the bike and was doing a wheelie like he's doing right now. We heard earlier sound from one of the participants say, "Bikes up, guns down" is the motto. And this gentleman down there is certainly, he's got his bike up. Very dangerous for anybody on the street right now.
Yeah, no one would argue with the message of put the guns down and the violence, particularly in parts of our community that in recent days have seen an uptick in gun violence in particular. That's the message that everybody wants to get out there, but this ain't the way to do it. Sorry, no. Mike Marza, I think you're still with us in the newsroom. You're also keeping an eye on this and gathering information from over at the news desk.
You know, I just can't help but notice just how dark it is out there now. Of course, it's nighttime, and some of these areas not as lit as some of the other streets, maybe like you would see on some of the other interstates with those huge industrial lights. We do see some street lights here, but it's dark, and so the traffic is going to be an interesting obstacle for these demonstrators to be out there. And you hear the voice of Ralph Rayburn. He's in Skyforce monitoring this from above, as you have heard. And as we continue to watch, it is also an instance where we take a moment. We've shown you some of the demonstrations and parades and whatnot that have been officially commemorating and marking this day, MLK Day, remembering the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And you heard from one of the participants there saying that is at least what, is what in his mind as he rides through the streets. And as I pause for a moment, we're coming up to another intersection. You see this huge semi-truck go by. You see them trying to maneuver in and about these intersections where people already are more sensitive to something bad happening just because you have so many cars moving in different directions, and then you have this pack of motorcyclists coming through. But as we have reiterated for the past hour and a half, we have not seen an accident, which is just really remarkable, because we have seen just how close these motorcyclists and ATV riders have come to the traffic in the area. So we just hope that continues. They don't appear to be wearing helmets. That's what we've seen, so you got to wonder for their safety too as the tricks continue as we reach the top of the hour. Lynn and Craig.
All right, Mike, thanks. And yeah, absolutely. Let's hope that stays that way, that there are, as this goes on for however much longer, there are no incidents where anybody gets hurt.
7 News 6:30 coming right back.
Few of these people, and I can tell you, a lot of these people are not from out of town, or are from out of town, I should say. And they say that this is basically to raise awareness. They told us the whole point of doing this, is to get the message out to put guns down and get on your bikes. One of these bikers told me that he says he hopes this really is to send a message to young kids to ride bikes. I think let's walk over here. Obviously, there are people who are driving quite recklessly through this area, so we want to make sure our safety is number one, because you can still, you see there's a lot of wheelies going on, a lot of tricks going on, and not really any order to any of this. It's kind of quite chaotic. Obviously, as you take a look at the scene here at 72nd Street and 10th Avenue.
All right. Kevin, thanks so much. We're gonna jump up to the chopper for a little more on this, but thanks for bringing us that from some of the folks who apparently are not from around here, which I guess is the social media component that we talked about earlier, encouraging people to come in and be a part of all this.
This is a live picture. Ralph is following this guy. Basically, it looks like he's standing on the seat of his ATV. Ralph? All right,
I'm going to jump back in here and tell you that we have moved up from 27th Avenue, where it changes to University Drive in Broward County. We're at the northwest corner of North Perry Airport, our home, right there on Pines Boulevard. You can see them coming up, folks coming up to an intersection. They've been going northbound here, and now it looks like they're going to make that turn and go eastbound on Pines Boulevard. We have seen several police officers in their vehicles on the side roads, just kind of monitoring what's going on here. But again, all of these folks on the ATVs and on the dirt bikes traveling at extremely high rates of speed, blowing through stop signs and stoplights. A lot of them doing wheelies, a lot of them up on one wheel or two wheels if it's in the ATV form. And then now they are continuing to move eastbound here on Pines Boulevard. It's a little bit dark down there right now. There are not a lot of streetlights on Pines Boulevard as it approaches the turnpike. Our expectation is that they're going to get to the turnpike and then get on there, but we'll see what happens here in the next couple of minutes. Let me see if I can make a little bit more light for you here with some of the vehicles that have brighter lights on them. There you go. This fellow right here in the red shirt has been a center of focus for us because he's providing his own light so that we can provide the pictures here for you. Again, on two wheels, darting through traffic, taking up all the lanes of traffic. We've seen them, as we said earlier, a number of times go through intersections at a high rate of speed. Several times they did actually slow down, to be completely honest. But here, there's another example. Although that was a green light, but again, with the wheels up, as we've been saying all along here, and we just continue to follow this to see where and how it's going to end. The questions, of course, are, again, we're concerned for the safety of not only the people on the bikes down here, but also all the civilians, including folks like these folks right here, slower traffic, the guy in the truck right there, all these people, hardworking people who are probably just on their way home. And you know, it's probably a pretty scary sight when all of a sudden you've got these many guys buzzing around you as you're minding your own business trying to get home.
And look at how dark it is.
You guys again.
Yeah, Ralph, and look at how dark it is. You cannot see on some of these roads. These ATVs, these bikes, I don't believe are equipped with any kind of lighting of any sort. So if one of these things comes whizzing by you and you maybe hear it off in the distance but you can't see it, I mean, it's a recipe for an accident.
That's an excellent point. It's hard enough to see a motorcycle, as we all know, with one light. I mean, some bikes do have some sort of clearly illumination, but most of them don't, especially the ones with two wheels. Again, this is a live picture from Ralph there on Pines Boulevard. First time we've heard of these ATVs in Broward County, but this seems to be in both counties, in Miami-Dade and in Broward County as well.
Nicole Insalata is in position for us. She is also in Northwest Miami-Dade. Nicole, what's happening where you are?
Well, I can tell you we're now at 56th Street and 22nd Avenue, and after being out here for several hours and not seeing any incidents, we did catch the aftermath of one. In fact, let me show you right there. There's a shoe in the middle of the intersection. We spoke briefly to a woman in a car, and she said that a dirt bike hit her car. There was a man and a woman, or young man, young woman on the dirt bike. The woman fell off. The man checked to see if she was okay, and then he took off without her. So when we arrived, the ambulance was taking her away. We don't know what her condition actually is, but we know that she was taken away by the ambulance. And the woman who was driving that car, she is one of those folks that we interviewed out here who said she thinks this is absolutely crazy. Obviously, she is personally affected by this. They allowed her to go. I don't believe she received any sort of citation or anything like that. But the ATVs and the traffic out here is still continuing. We're a little bit further south, so it's not as crazy as it was in the intersection of 22nd and 60th. But out here, we finally did see the aftermath of an accident. Lynn, Craig?
Okay, Nicole, thanks so much for that update. So just to bring everybody up to date, folks who are coming home from work, and boy, what a commute you had between the accident on 95 earlier up in Broward and then this silliness in Miami-Dade and now parts of Broward. What we've had here is scores, dozens really, of ATV and mini bike riders who, some of them have said this was in some way a commemoration of Dr. King and the holiday. That's what they said. That's what they tell us. Disrupting traffic on Biscayne Boulevard, I-95, weaving in and out of traffic, driving recklessly, dangerously, obviously antagonizing in some cases some of the other drivers out there. And this has been going on for the past couple hours.
Lots of traffic violations, lots of people on the road afraid, and this is a live picture from Ralph Rayburn in Broward County. First time we've heard of these ATV riders in Broward County. We have several reporters on this story. We've got, of course, Ralph bringing us these pictures. We'll have complete coverage of this nightmare for many drivers on 7 News at 10.
For updates at any time, visit us at WSVN.com, and should anything happen, if news breaks out, we'll break in with that. I'm Craig Stevens.
I'm Lynn Martinez. Good night, everybody. We'll see you back here at 10. I'll see you for Deco, too.
This has been a 7 News special report. We now join regularly scheduled programming.
Racked up 6